Hi, everybody. I'm James, and welcome back to Storytime with James. Make sure you like, subscribe, and leave me a comment if you like. All right, this one is called "Farewell, Mr. Mr. Martin. Morton. Farewell, Mr. Morton." Okay. This was when I was working at the hotel, and I was fairly new then, and Mr. Morton was kind of new, you know, but he was there a little before me. So we were working on the same shift that day. So I was shift supervisor for security at the time, and Mr. Morton was an officer. So we were standing outside talking, and he was a cool dude. He liked the same music I liked. He liked the groups, the old groups, like the Stylistic, Blue Magic, Delphonics, all of those. He bragged about that he had all of that music and stuff. So I asked him about a particular Stylistics album, and he had it, and he brought it to work, and he let me keep it so I can dub it, so I can copy it. So I was out there thanking him, and then I went back in. I went in to make sure that everything was going smoothly, So I got on the radio, was calling people, asking them what they doing and stuff like that. Then all of a sudden, I was in there with the dispatcher, talking to the dispatcher, and I heard a radio say, it was like somebody pushed the button, And I said, what was that? What was that, man? He said, oh, man, that probably somebody hit the button by mistake. I said, no. I said, do a radio check on everybody, do a radio check. So he said, unit 1, come in. They unit 1 said, check. He said, okay. He said, unit 2, come in. What's your 20? And he said, check. I'm upstairs, checking upstairs, So everybody, he went all the way through, but when he got to 7, there was no answer. So I said, 7, that's Mr. Morton, ain't it? And he said, yeah, man, but ain't no telling. Ain't no telling. They hit their buttons all the time and stuff like that. I said, no. So I went outside to where the last place we were talking. We were standing there talking. That's the last place we were standing. And I looked around, and then I saw one of the bellmen come by. I said, you seen Mr. Martin? And he said, oh, I saw him running that way. I said, what was he running for? He said, he was chasing somebody. I don't know. So I started running that way. I was running that way too. And when I got to the corner, when I round the corner, I could see Mr. Morton fighting. They were fighting. And they both went to the ground. So I started running over there, and I got on my radio. I said, we need backup over here on the street over here, So when I told him that, I was in battle then. When I said we need backup here, I went to battle. And I was pump, and I was pummeling the guy. I was really putting it on him and hitting him and punching him, hitting him with my radio and everything. And this guy never blinked his eyes. Even though I was punching him in his eyes and stuff like that, he was dead stare. He was on something. So after that, then I had his arm twisted, and then 2 officers came up to me. And I thought they were MPD officers. because they had the same uniform on. So I said, get him, get him, get him. And they got the guy, and they didn't. I don't think none of them had any cuffs. So they was getting ready to escort him around there, and he broke away from them and took off. You know. So they started chasing him, and then I started helping Mr. Morton. You see. So I got him up. I said, "Hey, you okay?" He said, "Man, I had him. I had him, man. I had him." I said, "That's cool. That's cool. That's cool." I said, "You okay?" He said, "Man, he broke my glasses. He broke my glasses." And I told him, I said, "Oh, that's okay. That's okay. We'll find him." I found his glasses, but they were broke. They were, like he said, you know. So an ambulance showed up. Oh, sorry. I just got off work, you guys. I just got off. An ambulance showed up, and they were checking Mr. Morton because he had blood on his collar right here. But I didn't see where no hits or nothing right there that he took. But when I was fighting the guy, he was swinging at me, and I was blocking. Pop, 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 pop. So I was blocking and stuff, you know. So he didn't get a hit on my face or nothing like that, but I got his face though. And little to be known, you know, he punched me in my arm, so it felt a little sore that where he punched me, you know. I didn't think nothing of it because, you know, I was worried about Mr. Morton, you know. So they took him, Mr. Morton, to the hospital. So I went back to dispatch, you know. And I said, "See, I told you. Whenever somebody you hear a sound like that, you check everybody." And I started getting ready to write my report. And then at the same time, some guys from some paramedics came inside. They said, James. I said, "Yeah, that's me. He said, "Hey, how you feeling? How you feeling?" I said, "Okay, man, it's okay." I said, "He ain't hit me in the face or nothing. You know, he just hit me on the arms and stuff like that." They said, "Oh, yeah? Come here. Let me take your jacket off. Take your jacket off." I said, What's wrong? What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing?" So they took my jacket off, and I had a white supervisor shirt on. And the arm had dots, you know. I don't know if you can see that. See that and that. So I said, "What?" And it was dots on my arm. It was dots right here on my bicep. So I said, "What in the world is this?" They said, "Come on, you gotta go. You gotta go with us." I said, "What happened? What? You gotta go in the ambulance. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go." I said, "What in the world's going on?" They said, "You've been stabbed with an ice pick." You see. So the guy really had something in his hand, but it was dark. It was dark around there. So he was doing like this, and I thought he was trying to hit me. So I was blocking it. You know, blocking with my arm, parrying his arms and everything. You see. But he was actually sticking me, and he stuck me right here too. So I went to the hospital, and they said they had to aspirate my wounds. Okay, and I got stabbed like 5 times. You know, like by 5 stabs. You know, but Mr. Morton, Mr. Morton got stabbed right behind the ear, right here into the temple, like close to his temple area, you know. And it got stuck right there, and it pierced his brain. It pierced his brain when he stuck him right there. And Mr. Morton was still standing, you know, talking and stuff. So I walked up to him. I said, "Hey, what's up, man?" And he had a bandage wrapped around his head, and he said, "He broke my glasses. He broke my glasses. He broke my glasses. He kept saying that over and over and over and over." So I said, I said, "You okay, man?" He said, "Man, he broke my glasses. He broke my glasses." So I went inside and I told the nurse, I said, "Look, this guy is getting incoherent out here. He has a head injury. he's being incoherent. Could y'all please check him? Could you please check him? So they brought him in, and as soon as they laid him down on the bed, he started going into a seizure. Went into a seizure, and after the seizure, he went into a coma, and he never woke up from the coma. Never woke up. He laid in a coma for close to 2 years. Close to 2 years. He never regained consciousness. Never regained consciousness. And I was going to the hospital every day. Every day. Because I was like kind of traumatized at first. You know, after that happened, I was like I had PTSD, you know. I thought I had, that's what I thought I had, you know. And a lot of doctors came and talked to me and stuff like that. So I knew that I had to get back on that horse, get back on that saddle, if I didn't want to sink into it for real, you know. Like, so I was feeling terrible, you know. You know, I had my arm bandaged up like this, had it in a sling and everything. So I don't know, man. But after that, 3 days later, I was back on the job. And everybody was looking at me like, you back already? I said, yes, I'm back. I'm ready. I'm not no little punk. I'm from Chicago. I'm from Chi-Town, okay? I'm from Chi-Town. And they said, okay, you want to work? And then I just started working. But after that, I became crazy, a crazy man. That's another story in itself, you know. But I became, anybody came up to me and said something, it was over. It was over for them. It was over. You know, it took me a long time to not be like that, you know, because man, it's crazy, you know. But R.I.P. Mr. Morton, you know. And I still got his tape. I still got his tape. Still got it. And I refuse to throw it away, you know. It was the Stylistics' greatest hits, you know. And, well, all right, you guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, and leave me a comment if you like. And hit that bell notification. Hit that bell notification so that you know every time I drop another video. And share. Share my videos with your family. Share with your friends. Share with your loved ones. And even share it with your enemies.
Oh my god.